All right, so thank you all for your patience. So this is our first official author meet and greet, virtual author meet and greet. I'm super excited to have created this space for authors to come together and have an opportunity to share about their book, their author journey, and then all of the other amazing things that come up when we think about being an author, right? Our journey, our trials, tribulations, and just being able to give some encouragement to people who are coming up behind us. So I am Juanita Woodson, the founder of the Authors Impact Hub, and we have some amazing authors here with us this evening. We have Tonya Bailey, Alicia Reid, Josiah Jean-Pierre. So from all across the United States, right, we've come together to bring you the first official author meet and greet. So I am going to kick it off to our first author, Tonya Bailey. If you can just tell us a little bit about yourself, your book title, and how we where you're from. You got to come off mute.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Can you hear me? Yeah. Okay. Okay. My name is Tonya Bailey. My name is Tonya Bailey. It's echoing. Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you. Okay, talk again. Okay, so you have to decide which device you're speaking on so that you just need to close one of them.
Okay. My name is Tonya. My name is Tonya. My name is Tonya. Still got.
So you may need to close it on your laptop because I think that's where you're getting the feedback from. It's all right. No worries. We're going to get it together, y'all. It's all good. All right, so we're going to go ahead and jump over to Josiah. If you can just introduce yourself, let us know a little bit about your background, your book title that we're discussing this evening, and then where you're from.
Okay. My name is Josiah Jean-Pierre. I am from the Caribbean and island of Haiti. But I reside in Washington State, Seattle, Washington. I am a 5 times author. I'm an execution coach, an activist, founder of JP Credit Solutions. And what we do is we do youth development, professional development, empowerment on how to break the mindset of negativity to flourish into positivity with no limits. I am an author of 2 books. The first book is Amazon's best-selling book called Our Cry for Justice, which is a book that goes back to Mother Teresa, to Breonna Taylor, inspired by 2020 events that took place, civil unrest and police brutality. And I try to figure out what is the best way to relay a message to America that they may not never understand the Black struggle that will make sense. I did it via poetry. I am an activist here in Seattle, Washington, and I'm also an author of another book called My Hurt Taught Me, but My Pain Motivated Me, which is a book that I wrote. It's a self-development book. I am a 3 times suicide attempt survivor. And as the society has told Black folks, especially men can't talk about their pain. They can't talk about their hurt. They can't talk about the wounds. You know, you gotta fake it till you make it. You're not tough enough. If you cry, you can't tough it as a man. You can't really show you much as a man. So, as someone who's healed, someone who did therapy and really went through the process of trying to figure out who I was as an individual, I'm the choosing of this book. This book has received an International Impact Book Award out of inspiration at an inspirational category, won first place. And my goal and vision is to really empower others to be equipped with the tools that they need so they can elevate fully to whom God created them to be.
Awesome. Awesome. Thank you so much for sharing. All right. And we are going to, if you have any questions that have popped up in your mind as you are listening to any of the authors, jot those down. We'll have some time for each of the authors to answer your questions. So our next author that we are going to hear from is Alicia Reid. If you can just let us know a little bit about your background, where you are from, and your book description.
Yes, so I am author Alicia A. Reid. I reside in Charleston, South Carolina. I am the founder and educator of Serenity Alzheimer's and Dementia Training, LLC. I am a transactional dementia intelligent consultant. I am also a program assistant for a special needs adult. I have been working in the healthcare field for at least 20 years now. I create all of my learning content in my company. I'm a podcaster, a blogger, and I love writing. I write national credentials, examinations for healthcare companies. For that, I am considered an analysis committee because I have to analyze to decide what is on the exam. I became an author in June of 2020. I had gotten fed up with people taking things from me, so I decided I needed something that people could not take from me that had a value to it. So I prayed about it and I said, royalties kicked in my mind. That's what I need. So God opened the door for me to share my experience through writing in dementia. So I wrote my first book, Health and Wellness Tips for Caregivers, in June of 2020. My second book is entitled A Caregiver's Guide, Alzheimer's and Dementia, and that was published shortly after in July 2020. In September of 2021, I published Herbal Healing for Your Mind. Then in March 2023, I published a word search workbook puzzle, a Mandela coloring book. I released my newest book, Shattered Illusions, A Dementia Journey, which I have right here, in April 11th of 2024. I moved on and wrote another book on March 22nd and released another book, Unlocking Joyful Moments, Empowering Caregivers and Enhancing the Lives in Memory Care. I have 2 ebooks on my website that is entitled Brain Health and Essential Guide to Memory. I will be releasing my first dementia journal entitled Daily Dementia Journal on September the 28th. I have Canterville stories that I write as well, and it will be turned into a book. It's called Urban Temptations, Hearts Entwined and Betrayed. So that will be coming out in October, next month in October. So now, this is another book that I wrote. This is a Caregiver's Guide, Alzheimer's and Dementia book. This is the Shattered Illusion book. And here is the Memories to Surviving book. So in this book, this is just a book that has a lot of poems for memories to keep as your loved one is alive or maybe deceased. And it just helps you to be able to get through the day. It has a journal, like a journal you can write in the back of the book. The Caregiver's Guide book is just a guide to help the caregivers to manage dementia, and it helps to get through different situations. Shattered Illusions is just about the main character, Lucinda. She went on a dementia journey and she ended up having some delusion going on. So it just speaks about how delusion can play when someone has dementia and how to be there for them and how their reality becomes different from ours, and just to be able to support the person. So my writing that I do is mostly about dementia and giving memory care. So
Okay. Awesome. Well, we can't wait to hear a little bit more about your books and your journey as we continue on. We'll have some questions for you.
okay.
And
Yes.
then, Tonya, if you are able, please tell us a little bit about your background and then your a little bit about your book and then where you're from.
Good evening again. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you clear.
Okay, good. My name is Tonya Bailey. I am from Virginia. I am married. I have no kids. I am a 30-year transplant kidney recipient and a breast cancer survivor. I decided my book, I am the author of Pray Without Ceasing, as you can see. And I work in the healthcare field. I've been working there for like 20 some, I've been working at the hospital for 20 some years, but in the healthcare for about 30 some. I like to give, I like to help people. I podcast, I have 2 podcasts, Journey of a Kidney Survivor and Pushing to Your Purpose. Also, the reason why I wrote my book is a 31-day prayer journal with personal prayers and scriptures in it. And I wrote it because I was in a dark place at one time dealing with my health issue. Well, when I got the news that I needed another kidney, it kind of took me back because I had this kidney for 30 some years and I was like, okay, so what is going on? What did I do? Why and what's going on? So I kind of put myself like in a shell and I was like, I got to come out of this shell and I got to do better. So in February, I decided to start writing down my prayers and I started praying and then I started talking to God and I was like, God, I said, I don't know what I'm doing wrong or
on Facebook.
what I've done, but I really would like to know what I've done.
Miss
So I
Tonya, hold on one second. If you can,
Mhm.
if you can mute yourself just so that we don't interrupt our author when she's speaking.
So then I found myself in that dark place. So I felt like my faith was being tested. So I was like, God, I got to figure out a way to get back to you so that I can get my faith back and trust you on what I'm going through. So I decided to start writing this book. And when I wrote it, I was like, let me start writing and letting the people know on how to pray to God and what to pray about and when to pray to him. Because, we all on a daily basis, we go through these things and we might not realize that we are praying when we really praying or we're thanking him for what he has done. And I understand that God takes us through different situations for a reason. And you may not know that reason. But I had a few weeks ago, I had talked to someone and they expressed to me, they said, well, God is using you for a vessel to show other people on what he can do. In spite of what you're going through and you continue to push, you became an author, you continue to work every day, you could keep going, you're not giving up. With some of the things that I have gone through myself, nobody else probably would have been able to handle it. Because dealing with breast cancer, that's something I didn't want to hear about, especially when I was told that I was getting a transplant 2 months prior. I was at the top of the list for a kidney, and then the breast cancer came. So that pushed me back. So I'm like, okay. So I'm like, God, I say, so I did the ultimate, like we normal, the flesh side. I cried. I called everybody. I was like, oh my God, I got cancer, da 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 da. And something just told me, something tapped me on my shoulder, said, girl, get yourself together. I done brought you through all this. You think I ain't gonna take you through this? So I've learned in this season that God will do anything you ask of him. It's in his time. It's not your time, it's his time. When he gets ready, he uses you for a reason. And he puts you in things for you can get closer to him, to get that hope that you need, to get to trust him. And so I wrote the book to not just to inspire myself, but to inspire other people. And once I wrote it, it felt so good to write it and write things down, and then to see how people have purchased the book and have come to me and say, this book really touched my heart because I get to I read your prayers every day. When they wasn't praying or wasn't reading the prayers, they read it now and they pray now. So it really made me feel like I have done something to help somebody else. So this is one reason why I wrote the book, because I was like, it keeps me going. It keeps me inspired. And I'm learning, since I have been on the Authors Hub Impact, I have joined that. Also, I'm doing the Faith While Waiting anthology, and I'm so excited about that. So I'm doing things that keeps me going and I'm learning how to make sure that Tonya and her goals are the priority and nobody else's, and trying to be more consistent, which I know I need to learn more about that. So I'm really working towards trying to get more books because I like to read, I like to write. And I'm coming to terms with, it's about Tonya and what God has done for you. You got to go out here and show people what you've done. And I am also I'm an ambassador for LifeNet Help, which I've had a meeting. I had a group event with LifeNet Help talking about organ and tissue donation. I did it in April, and I had a pretty decent outcome with it, and I reached a few people because I like to talk about what I've gone through, because my testimony could help somebody else. It might not be what somebody else went through, but mine can help someone else. And I just like to share my testimony. Thank you.
Yes, well, thank you so much for your transparency and sharing a little bit with us about your journey. Can't wait to dive in a little bit more as we go through our Q&A. So I'm going to jump to, and I have this question for each of our authors, but we'll go ahead and jump to Josiah. So this next question is, how has your relationship with God influenced your writing and the message that you share in your book or in your books?
Good question. So, as a self-help non-fictional author, my foundation when you read my books is always going to be centered around God, just because my books are testament books outside of Our Cry for Justice, which is a poetry book. The goal of every book that I write is to point back to God, so people can see the God in this. I always say behind every test is a testimony, behind every message is a message, behind every misery there's a ministry. So when it comes to writing the books that I write, is I get to a place of vulnerability, but in that vulnerability there's healing. So when readers read the book, they will see, oh wow, Josiah went through this, but at the same time he made it out because of God. So as a faith-based writer, as a faith-based author, entrepreneur, my focus and aim has always been God gets the glory, he gets the credit, he gets the honor. So when people hear my story, they don't say, oh, Josiah overcame. They'll say, oh, Josiah give credit to God. At the end of the day, I want to be God-centered, not Josiah-centered.
Yes, yes, I love that. Like, right, I'm all about our purpose is not just for us, right? It's really to like make God's name great, right? That's what we're here for, to make his name great, Jesus' name great in the earth. That's what we're here for, not to make our name bigger than what it is. God, us following God and following the purpose that he's given us, he's going to do that for us. We don't need to go out and try to do that for ourselves. So I love that. So we're going to kick the next question back to Alicia. If you can answer that question for us, how has your relationship with God influenced your writing and your message in your books?
Well, I just seek God on everything I do before I write. I pray to him, ask him for guidance. Just like when I first I needed something that no one could take from me. And when he gave me what to write, when he gave me the permission to write and told me all the years that I put in, and people need to hear what I was doing, because I just had started my company. So everything just fall together. I didn't have to go out and pay money to make content, because I started off with my books. I was teaching from my books. I was going out and speaking from my books. So that's what helped to make my business before I even started creating my own courses in my company. So he gave me what I needed to get started. And so just seeking him on the topics to write about, I was able to make it. And just from me doing my writings, it helped me to get in the media. And where I am, I'm considered a local celebrity, I should say. I'm still not taking that word. I'm just used to the well-known where you live at. But if people are saying that and I'm getting a newscast coming into my job and telling the people, so I'm gonna accept it, because it's what the people make you. If that's what status they give you, then you're a celebrity. So I'm walking in to accept it. I've cried and I said, I know this is God, because it's just flowing. And I understand, also when the enemy rises up greatly, but God is in the middle of it, you're protected. No matter how many pack of wolves you're around, and I'm around them every day, but I can't be touched. And I just thank God for leading me. And I know he's guiding me, because at one time I used to be afraid. When the media would call, I would push it away. And I was like, well, I ain't got to pay for this stuff. as many people, clients out there that couldn't afford maybe to buy my content at the time, but they still showed me favor and support by going to the media. And even their names was released to me. And I called those people that I had on my list of the speaking event that I went to. And I cried my eyes out and I said, thank you. Even though you wasn't able to buy the courses or whatever I had at the time, you still showed support. But just because people don't have money, don't mean they don't know nobody. Don't mean they're not a special person that can get the word out for you. So I just thank God for every avenue that has opened up for me. And I thank him for where he's taken me at. He's opened a lot of opportunities for me to get on platforms. And I thank you for having me here tonight. I've already partnered with a lot of huge healthcare companies that's in dementia. So I've cried my eyes out. Mostly you had to, just have certain criteria to meet it, which I already meet a lot of them. I just earned a diploma in transactional dementia intelligence. I'm the first one worldwide to receive that diploma. So it'll be on LinkedIn under the doctor that I got the my education from, Dr. Ethel Lord. So it'll be announced everywhere in a little bit. Everybody will be able to see it. And there's so many that hasn't even passed the test yet. And it was like, Alicia, you the first one that passed the test, and it only took you like 20 minutes to get through the test. And I'm like, I've been in dementia forever, but also a lot of things that I've learned is not from books. It's my experience with God and how he walked me through my career for my 20 years. So when I'm talking to people and when I write, when I send my emails or anything, when I'm signing my name, I always put experience makes the best expert, because an expert is experienced. That's my saying when I write, when I'm doing my writing, because when I started my journey in caregiving and got my first job with my grandmother having dementia and can't talk and hear, that's experience that I had to have. And when I went and got my first job out of high school in caregiving, I said, well, I want to apply to be in healthcare because I took care of my grandmother and I love what I was doing. And I would say, well, I don't have no experience. And when I told them, they was like, excuse me, that is experience. You went in without a book and you just work with someone that can't talk and hear, that had vascular dementia, and you was able to accomplish all that. And I helped my mother take care of her until she closed her eyes. I held her hand when she closed her eyes. So for me to be able to go through that, I can go into people's homes and I can work with them until they close their eyes. I've done hospice, I've done it all. So I know that this is my calling to be in the dementia field. And I prayed about it. My mother gave me my company name, Serenity, because I needed peace with what I was going through in my life and in my work journey. And even though it's still kind of a rough time, nobody can touch me because I still got my own company to fall back on. I'm just still going out here to work to help the people. I got my own. But and so I'ma still keep on stepping on until God tell me to leave. I don't want you going in nobody else's company no more. So if I should have to walk away from their job, I'm good because I got my own company. But I just thank God for the journey and giving me the experience with my grandmother, because it opened the doors for me to have my own business, to be able to work with others. And it lets me know that I'm supposed to be in the caregiving and the healthcare field, because if I go missing just 2 weeks or a month, I have clients or people that may not know me. They actually go out in the community and asking people where I am. So that does make me a well-known person to find out what happened to me. And so I'm just very honored to be in the space of healthcare and to be an author. And I'm grateful for being in your community to get the support. And I'm excited to see where everybody's authorship goes. Thank you.
Yes, and we're excited to have you. We're excited to have all of the authors and the Authors Impact Hub. You make it what it is. So super appreciative of you all. And I'm excited. Thank you so much for you all being the first ones to join the virtual author meet and greet, right? So you're taking those baby steps with me. So I really appreciate that. So we're going to kick that question back to Tonya. How do you keep your faith strong while facing the challenges of being an author?
Well, I just keep going. I keep praying. I talk to God a lot and I pray. And I try to get off a lot of social media at times. I try to do it a certain time because I really can't, because of my health, I can't fast like I want to because I've tried it and I have gotten sick. I will express that. But so I turn over a different plate. If I can't fast from physical food, I turn over something else. So I pray and I talk to God and I ask God, what is it that He wants me to do? What is it that He wants me to write about? What is it that I need to say? Because in order for me to tell people what I've gone through, I really have to know what you want me to say. I know what I've gone through, but me telling somebody else, they're looking at me like I'm crazy because I do it all the time when I'm at work. You know, anybody come in contact with me, I just share my testimony. They like, really, you going through this? I'm like, yeah, but it's nobody but God. It's not me, it's God. I worked every day. I will tell you this. When I had the breast cancer, I had to do 20 rounds of radiation, 4 weeks. Every single day I worked, never missed a beat, never called out, went to work every day. And every time they came in, they said, Tonya, I said, yeah, I'm working. I said, it's nobody but God. I said, I'm not tired. I'm not sick. So I'm not going to stay home because of the fact I know that God did this. He put me in this situation. So He's going to get me through this. And when I first got it, I was like, God, why did you give me this? What in the world? So I said, you know what? I'm going to accept this task that you have, better yet, a test that you have for me. Because at the end, it's a testimony. Because when I share what I've gone through with somebody else, they're not going to believe it. So when I see people, they look at me, they say, whatever you gone through, you don't even look like it to this day from that day. And I don't. And I thank God for what He's doing. So my writing, when I write, I always always talk to God and say, God, what is it that I need? I mean, even at night when I'm in the bed and I wake up and I'm like, I ain't about to get out of this bed. So I hope I can remember what you're saying. So, and then sometimes I jot it down and then I write down what He wants me to say or what He wants me to do, because I know it's nobody but Him. He gets all the glory at the end, because what can I do? It's nothing I really can do but show calls on what He has done for me. So when I write, I try to have my books. I'm working on another book. I just haven't gotten it together yet, but it's Healing While Walking in Your Purpose. So I'm writing that and I'm asking God, what is it that you want me to say? I know I'm putting in what I've been through, but I also want to show what the world has gone through so people can see what things we've gone through in this world. It's nobody but Him. Because some people don't realize that, like COVID, COVID came. We didn't know what it was. We had to learn how to get along with each other. If you didn't get along with each other, you had to learn how to do it. Also, we had to turn our tables and look and find. When we went to the store, wasn't everything in the store that we used to get, wasn't everything there. So you had to learn how to work with what you had. So when he bought it here, it's just like, boom, you got it. And it's still here. But we're learning how to adjust to it. So if you didn't know who God was, trust me, you got to know Him then. Because even in spite of all the people that have died, there was just their time, their season. So you be thankful for what God has done for you, keeping you here throughout the COVID. So I look at my own situation and I say, God, you put me in this test and you're going to take me through this test. Because even now to my husband was like, Tonya, he said, babe, don't worry about it. We good. Don't worry about it. It's okay. Because it's nobody but God. He's given us this to show us that we need to learn how to show people on what God is doing for us. And I said, yeah. And that's why my writing comes from, when I write, I try to write according to His will and not my will, and what He has to say and what I've gone through, because I can help somebody else. Because people don't know your story until you tell them. Yeah. And it's up to you to tell them. So, that's why I write like I do.
Yes, definitely. Thank you so much for sharing. So I want to give an opportunity for our guests tonight to be able to ask a question to any of the authors. So you can share it in the chat or you can come off of mute. The authors, we would love to hear from you, any questions or feedback that you may have.
Well, the one thing I would like to say, this is Tonya Bailey, is to other authors or other people who wants to write, is to write from your heart. And first seek God and then write from your heart. Let him give you the words to say, and it's write from your heart. If it's fictional or non-fictional, just write from your heart and express on things that you've gone through, or even with things that you haven't gone through. But just write from your heart. Don't just write. Just write from your heart, because you know what you're writing from, because it comes from you. So write from your heart. That's one of the things I want to express.
Okay, awesome. Well, thank you so much for sharing. I don't see where we had any questions for the authors in the chat, so I'm gonna go ahead and continue. You can definitely, like I said, you can come off mute. Joy, okay, you have a question? Go ahead, jump right in.
Sorry about that. I do not have a question. I just have a statement. I just want to say each one of your stories was like amazing. Is it pronounce his name for me because I don't want to mess it up.
Josiah.
Just I'm gonna mess it up. I ain't even
Okay.
Josiah. Okay. I'm sorry. I just want to say thank you for being brave. Thank you for being that Black brave man that most Black men need to see. Keep doing the work. Like, you are amazing. I've been following you. You probably noticed that I sent you a friend request. So just keep being great. Miss
Thank you.
Alicia, oh my gosh. Like, just listening to your advocacy for dementia, I mean, it's amazing. And I just recently moved to Charleston, so I would love to connect with you.
Yes.
And Miss Tonya, your story is amazing too. And I just want to say you reminded me of my mom. My mom did 21 rounds of radiation, and people didn't know who the patient was because she just kept on going. Like, she kept on going. And I want to say, let's celebrate you next month for October for Breast Cancer Month. That is big for me. Celebrating every small win. And that new title that you have, I am looking forward to it. So y'all just keep being great. I was definitely inspired. Yes.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Yes, I love it. And I love it. That's what the Authors Impact Hub is all about. So I see authors connecting, sharing each other's work. So I'm always just like very humbled by that, because that's what it's all about. Just being able to get that accountability and that support that you sometimes may feel that you don't get as an author, right? Sometimes you're sharing your work, you feel like you don't get the likes, the reshares, the comments, all the things that you need to just like give you that drive and the motivation to keep going. Because we spend a lot of time, right? We spend a lot of time creating our content, just thinking about like the caption that we're going to share. We spend so much time on those things. So I'm so happy to see that like the community is getting everything that they need to just keep going. So I do want to ask each of the authors, right? So this next question, what is one struggle that you faced through the publishing, marketing of your book? How have you overcome, or how are you overcoming that struggle? And we'll kick it off to Josiah to answer that question.
Oh man. Struggle. So I started my journey writing books 2016. I think the beginnings process of the struggle was publishers trying to remove your voice and make it sound like their voice, to the point where they don't think your voice or what you have has any fruit, that they want to change it to make it sound like it's them. But I was going through a traditional publishing company at the time, and I was like, I can't do that. I want readers to read my book and be like, that sounds like him, not like, oh, they don't sound like him at all. That's one struggle. Another struggle is really when you start going to any type of industry, authorship or whatever it is, especially in authorship, is you get looked at different. Like, people be like, man, you think you're better than me because you have a book out? But they fail to realize that that book could open up many doors, or have a, it could be a leverage or something else. And so what I did was, instead of going to a traditional publishing company, I went to a self-publishing company where I have the final say. I have the agreement. I have the contract for myself. Like, I own 100% of my rights of my books. A traditional publishing company, they get a percentage, so you don't really own the full percentage of your book. They do, and they have a say where it goes, and they have to go through them for anything else. So I'll say the struggle for me has been just, so from when I started off, has been having publishers who trying to determine your voice. And what I've done to avoid that is make sure that, hey, one, I am my authentic true self, and number two, that I get to a publishing company that makes sure that, hey, your voice is being heard and recognized.
Yes, that's definitely so important. And one thing I love about it is, right, in our writing, you can see that in the way that we show up on social media if you connect with us, right? It's just authentic all the way across the board as an author. So I love that. So we're gonna kick it to you, Alicia. What struggles have you had in the publishing, marketing? How have you overcome those struggles, or how are you overcoming those struggles?
When I first started out, I didn't know which way I wanted to go with publishing. So to be safe, I just took the easiest way to go with Amazon to be safe. And then maybe after a year or two of getting in the author groups and just, getting to learn people and see who I could work with, I end up running to some author friends that I work with personally. And then they started their own publishing company. So now when the time comes, if I want to publish any books, I can go through my author friends who have my books published, because I want to have them distributed in other places, and I want to have all my royalties. I'm trying to share and everything. So that's the one thing that I'm working on. And then I want to see my sales at a certain level consistently. It just would make me feel better. So that's my two things that I would like to see a change in.
Yes, okay. And we see you showing up. So keep going. You're hitting
Mm.
those companies. So keep going. Reach out like to other states, and then also share with us like what it is that you're looking for in the authors impact community. We're here to support. So that's, like I said,
Yes.
that's one thing I really love about the community. You may not always get the answer like right away, but I promise you, people are going back there, seeing those questions, and they'll be able to give you the feedback that you need.
Right. And I do have my book in one store, the Spine Shop in Tennessee. I do have my books in that store. So I'm grateful for that, to have that opportunity and trying to expand to more stores. So I'm grateful for that.
Yes, congratulations.
Thank
Keep
you.
going. Yes. All right, and Tanya, we're going to pass it back to you. So, what struggles have you faced with publishing, marketing? How have you overcome those struggles or overcoming?
Well, the only struggle I had when I first started was knowing which way to go. So I too went to Amazon self-publishing, and I found that was much easier for me because I was able to fix the book like I wanted to fix it, do what I wanted to do. So yes, I really like that. As far as marketing, not too much, because my book is in the local book bin here. The bookstore here is the book bin. And it is in it's down in Georgia at Speak Up Sis at their little community center. It's down there. And I hadn't really sent it out nowhere else, but now it is in the Black Women's Author magazine. It is in that. So I haven't really done any too much more with it, but I had gotten a lot of sales when it first came out, because it was like, oh, Tanya wrote a book. So I will say this, not bragging on myself, but I'm kind of well known here in a sense, because this Eastern Shore is small. So everybody kind of know everybody. So it's like, oh, she wrote a book. Let me catch that book. Let me get this book. So it kind of worked out. Even my coworkers, I had people calling. Even now, some people might hit me up and say, you have a book on hand, and my church members. So a lot of it kind of worked out because it's been sold. And I have been asked to vendor at an event coming up next month in November. It's for next month, but it's happening in November. So it made me feel like, wow, you doing something here on the shore other than just sitting still. So as far as struggles, that's the only biggest one I have. And I'm trying to figure out with this next book, which way am I gonna go? Which direction am I gonna go in? Am I gonna find a publishing company or continue with the Amazon to just do the self-publishing, where I can kind of control some of the things that I wanted. Also, like Miss Alicia said, I wanted my money too. So also I want my money as well. Not share it, but to try to get my money too. So that's it.
And I think a lot of authors want the same thing, right? So Josiah, he wanted to jump in and just add something in regards to that.
Yeah, so for Tonya and Alicia, I'll say it's good to have your book on Amazon, like having published on Amazon, but do not send folks to Amazon to buy your book. What I do, this is what I
Mhm.
do. Last year, just in gross, I made just 15,000 off of just book revenue. So what I did was I have a Square account, right? If someone's like, "Hey, I want to buy your book," send them your Square link. Make sure you have books on deck because you could create inventory that way, and you could charge them shipping and handling. It's going from there. So if your book is $20, you could say, "Hey, $9.95 for shipping and handling," so they pay $30 plus tax for the state that you're in. And when you ship your book, ship it media mail. Now you profit money. Media mail only costs $3. Any books to the post office, send it media mail. Now you profit, and you're going to see a big turnaround because one, people want to get a book directly from the author, especially if it's signed copy. They're like, yeah, okay, I got a book hand for you. I'll go ahead and sign it for you. Here's the link, buy it, and they'll see how much you have in stock and inventory that way. So that'd be the best way I would say to talk about your book sales, seeing revenue for your book is that way because on Amazon they keep 80%, you keep 20. So, and they pay you out in 3 months. So if your book on Amazon is $10, 20% of $10 is your money. So if you want to see on how to leverage, I would say have books in deck, carry it with like his business card, right? Like carry with your, like wherever I go, I have my books on me, it's in my car. So if someone's like, "Hey, what do you do?" I'm an author. Here you go. Second thing also is I'll say is go to your small library, your small bookstores in your area, right? Small bookstores will always want to get authors in local community. Do not go to the big brand bookstores like Barnes and Noble. If you have a book at Barnes and Noble, that's great, that's awesome. Like if it's online on their store, you could definitely do that. But the small bookstores will be an avenue because once you start small at these local bookstores in your area, and you go to Barnes and Noble and say, "Hey, I want to have my books in your area in this store," if they see that your book is another bookstore, high percent chance your book will be in Barnes and Noble at that moment of time.
Yes, thank you so much
Yes.
for sharing. That's so
Yeah.
important. Having an author website is important, right? It just makes you look official. And like as things are growing, there's so many different ways that you can have an author website without spending thousands of dollars, right? I'm always here to support you in that if you're needing some help with getting it set up. But one other thing I wanted to add before we open up the floor to our guests to ask some of our authors a question. Get outside of social media, go to events, go to different events and not just book events, right? So Alicia, you write a book about dementia. Go on to different events, focus on that, seeing if you can set up a table with books. I promise you will probably be the only author there with a book. So just getting really creative in the way that you market your book outside of social media is very important. Networking is important, right? Your network is your net worth. And that is like so pivotal and important to remember. The more people that you know, that they know like 5,000 more people that they can open up to you to be able to purchase your book. So don't be afraid of like getting outside of social media and meeting other people. Right. So I just wanted to add that. Thank you so much for jumping in and sharing that with us, Josiah. So I do want to just open the floor back up to any of our guests who are here on with us tonight. If you have any feedback or any questions for any of our authors. And if you're afraid to come off of mute, please don't be, but you do have the chat to utilize if you want to pop your question in there. All right, so I don't see any questions coming to chat, and we are getting close to our time here. So I wanted to ask one last question for the authors, and I'm going to ask that you be quick when you answer this question because I want to give you an opportunity to share how we can connect with you on social media and then how we can also order your book. So my next question, what is one thing that you would tell to an aspiring writer that's afraid to like take that next step to publish their book? And we'll start with Alicia for that question.
I would just say to pray about it. Just pray to get your journey started off. Ask God just to give you directions on what you should be writing about. And trust me, He will have you flowing like I did. You'll be flowing. The ideas will just keep coming to you, and then you will become a natural author for sure. So just brainstorming is a good thing to do. Just having the topics that you want to write about, and then just ask God to give you the rest, and he'll help you through your journey.
Yes, definitely. I love that. Doing those brain dumps, just getting everything out of your head is so helpful. I do that pretty often. Yes, then we're going to jump to Tonya with that next question. What is one piece of advice that you would give to an aspiring writer?
Such as Miss Alicia had just said, pray about it. Yes, pray about it first. And again, write from your heart. Just know that if you can't figure out what you want to write about, think about what you're going through and write about that. That way that can inspire somebody else what you're going through, because your journey is your journey, but your journey can also help somebody else. That's about all I need to say.
Yes, I love that. And then Josiah, if you can just go ahead and end us with that question. What's one piece of advice that you would give to an aspiring writer?
Just do it. Just write that book and let it release, let it flow, and always know there is somebody connected to your yes.
Yes, I love that. There is somebody connected to your yes. Remember that your purpose is not just for you. So if you can, Josiah, just go ahead and share with us how we can connect with you on social media, and then how we can buy your books and not from Amazon.
Social media, Instagram is coach with _ Josias. Facebook is JJP Pierre. And then on how to buy my books is through Square. I'll go ahead and put in the link right now to get the books.
Awesome. And then Tonya, if you can share with us how we can connect with you on social media, and then how we can order your book.
I'm on social media, Facebook, Tonya B. Bailey, Instagram, Tonya_B_Bailey. And you can buy my book from Linktree/Tonya Bailey.
Awesome. Thank you. And make sure you do share in the chat as well, so our guests that are on with us, they can just easily click that. And then Alicia, how can we connect with you on social media and also order your book?
So on social media, you can find me through my website, Serenity, Alzheimer's, and Dementia Training.com, and all the social links are there. And I'm going to put my links in the chat where you can place an order to buy the books from me directly.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much,
So
all of our amazing authors, for joining us tonight. I really appreciate you taking this time out. I've enjoyed hearing about your testimony and your book journey. So one thing I definitely want you to do, if you can go to the Authors Impact Hub and share how we can connect with you as well. I want to give you that opportunity to share within the community. And I do want to say, please join us next month on October 12th. We'll be having our second Authors Impact monthly author meet and greet, and we'll have author Joy on with us. I'm super excited she joined us this evening, and we'll be able to hear from her next month. And then, of course, if you can, once we make this live, share, leave us a comment, tag your friends and your family. We want to be able to continue bringing you more opportunities like this to the Authors Impact Hub, just to give you that space to be able to share about your books and then continue to grow with your author brand. And then we have about 3 minutes left, right? So we are right on time this evening. So if any of our guests, we're giving you one last opportunity. You've heard from 3 amazing, impactful authors this evening. If you have any feedback or any questions that you would like to leave, now is definitely the opportunity. You can come off of mute and let us hear it. And then our authors that are on with us as well, if you have like any final thoughts or questions that you want to ask for one of your co-authors this evening, you can do that as well.
I didn't want to seem like the only person that was going to be doing the talking,
You're fine.
but I just want to say something really quick that has helped me. I track the states where my books are going. So if that's something that you guys want to do, because everybody want to see you win. So my goal is for my book to be in all 50 states. And they're in 17 or 18 now in 2 other countries. So you can just like make a post on Facebook and say, hey, That's just how I track it, and that has helped me. So I just feel like, whatever has helped me, it may help a future author, or author, the same. So, and my motto is the same as Josiah: just do it. Like, that's it. Stop procrastinating. If God has put that book inside of you, start writing and just do it.
Yes,
Yes.
definitely. Thank you for sharing, Joy. We
Mhm.
appreciate you.
I don't have a question. I just want to say that everybody on here has filled my cup up with something, and I left with a lot. I took a lot of notes, and I'm happy. I'm excited. Congratulations to everybody on here. I look forward to meeting you again, whether it's virtual or in person. And I just want to thank Miss Juanita for the opportunity for just coming on and meeting other authors.
Yes, thank you so much for sharing and joining us this evening. And I want to add, you want to make sure if you have thought about writing a children's book or you have written a children's book and you want to see it go even further, join us on September 23rd. We are going to have Konisha as one of our hosts this month for our monthly free webinar. She's hosting with author Paula Banks, talking about marketing and children's books. So I'm super excited about that. And I'll make sure that I reshare the link for you to register. So I love this about the Authors Impact Hub. We bring authors to be able to just share the information that you have learned, to just be able to pour into everybody else, right? When one person wins, we all win. That's the way that I look at it. Anything that I learn, I want to share with everybody else so that you can continue learning and growing too. All right, so if any of our authors have any final thoughts that you want to leave with us this evening, we are going to get ready to close out. Now is your opportunity to come off of mute, share your final thoughts. And if you have none, that is okay. All right, so I'm super excited that you all joined us this evening for our first monthly virtual author meet and greet. It will not be the last. And be on the lookout 2025. We're going to be doing some in-person in some states. Our in-person author meet and greet. So we'll be sharing some information about that coming very soon. I am your host, Juanita Woodson, founder of the Authors Impact Hub. If you have not joined the Authors Impact Hub and you are an author or thinking about being one, you want to go and join us, I'll make sure that I share the link with all that registered this evening. You'll get an email with information about how you can join us. Thank you. Have a good evening. Take care.